Where are you on the idea of a nurse's pay rise, then?
Well, I think 5% is quite a good offer, considering everyone's experiencing a real terms pay cut anyway. I think 10% is asking for quite a lot in a cost of living crisis that's happening for everyone.
Can you just break this down for our viewers and our listeners? Because so it's a 5% pay rise plus essentially 10% in line with inflation. Is that right?
Oh, I think they're wanting 10%. Was it 10% in total they're wanting?
So, no, so my understanding is it's 10% plus, which is a rate of inflation, plus about another 5% as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
so,
basically too much.
So you think it's so you do think it's too much
Yes,
money?
I think so. I think when you go into nursing, you want to do it not for the money, but for looking after people. It's like a moral calling. And, yeah, I don't think it would be right at all to strike as well. It's morally reprehensible, yeah.
So that's a really interesting point, because forget the financials for a second and talk to me a bit about the moral side of things. Because, look, if I went on strike, frankly, a lot of people might breathe a sigh of relief. But if nurses go on strike, people might die.
Yeah, exactly.
Would nurses have blood on their hands if they went on strike?
I think so, yeah, because a lot of procedures, they say they do emergency procedures, but what about all the biopsies that could detect cancers and things like that? Early diagnosis is everything, but that will be missed, and then people will suffer as a result. There'll be unnecessary deaths, and there'll be hospital readmissions for other patients as well. That a lot can go wrong from just one day of strike action, yeah.
And I think a lot of people, not everyone, some people get great care on the NHS. And it must be said, my family has received the full mixed bag, right? Some tremendous life-saving procedures and some absolute shockers. And I think that's a relatively accurate snapshot of the nation. And I can't help but wonder whether or not people's sympathy for the NHS and for those who work within it, i.e. nurses, is already a little bit limited. And then if they go on strike, I don't think they bring the people with them.
No, I think sympathy for them is waning, really, and there's a lot of problems with very long waiting lists at the moment and long waiting times for GP appointments, things like that. There's a lot of problems with the NHS, and I don't think the public will be on the side of the nurses, really, once they see the consequence of it in particular.
But then I suppose, what's the alternative? Because if we don't pay nurses more and we don't, therefore, recruit enough nurses and nurses leave, then we have a health crisis anyway, don't we?
Yeah, I think really the problem with staff retention is more down to the culture. There's a lot of problems with bullying and harassment within the NHS. Yeah, and a lot of issues with management. I think they could really get some money from changing the whole hierarchy and structure of management and use that for the nurses, if anything, or just in helping the NHS improve. I don't think money should go to the nurses. I think it should be to the whole system, really.